We live?
Yes, we are.
All right.
Alright. Hello.
All right. Today, I'm here with
Dylan. Woo!
Ethan.
and today we're going to be talking about why are old games still relevant and why are old, like,
we are.
retro-styled games so popular.
Yeah, for sure.
Alright,
So,
well,
in the meantime, we are actually going to be playing games as well.
Yeah,
So,
just for fun, just
know,
having
just-
the background.
just some
It's
background.
just a little nice thing to have. Because I feel like my brain turns off when I'm playing the game, but it also not activates more, but it's more like relaxed, in a way. It'll be more entertaining if I
Yeah.
have something
You know?
going on in the background, But that's fine. Anyway, should we get
Alright.
into it?
so we'll start with, so why do we think they're so popular still?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons. I think probably a good place to start, like, at least in my opinion, is that, like, first of all, the big effect they had on the industry. Because, like, they're kind of, like, what kind of started it. They're what kind of, like, started the whole medium. And I think a lot of people appreciate that, so they're kind of, like, holding on to that sense of...
What do you mean by appreciate? Like,
Well, like, they're kind of, like... Because of, like, they're the originals, and, like, what kind of started the whole, like...
this is great. Don't pay attention.
I actually kind of find it a little difficult to do
Yeah.
both. But, I'm gonna try and get my point across here. So, I think because of their importance in, like, the early stages of video games, people appreciate that, and therefore have, like, a very nostalgic connection to them, which is
Yeah.
kind of, like, why they...
I think nostalgia is probably one of the big reasons, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just like, if you have, like, good memories of playing a game when you're younger or whatever, then going back and playing it would be,
Alright, but I think it's like nostalgia as well. But even if you're like, I could get nostalgic playing a game, but it's not like a game that I would still find relevant today. So like nostalgia, I don't think is actually that big of a factor. I think what makes a game last longer is generally just like the content of the game. Like, if a game, like if you look at Mario 64, it's really good because it has a lot of speedrunning potential, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's a classic game. Everyone knows it. And I don't... Are they still finding glitches in that game? Like, I know...
I'm pretty sure they are.
I'm
Like,
sure they are. And it's just widely popular, Mr. Mario, and it makes sense why people still play it. I mean...
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair point. I think it can be a combination of both. Because nostalgia is like is an absolute hell of a drug, which I think can be why certain people go back. But I think it's also like for like the widespread appeal for people going back to old games. It has to be that the game itself is good, right?
Yeah.
Like if you think about this, like if you were to look at a game like Ocarina of Time on the N64, that game, doesn't exactly hold up as well graphically. It's still a very pretty game, but comparing it to now maybe isn't a fair comparison, but it's fair enough from like how it actually looks. But because the game was so good and widely accepted, people still like go back to replay or as you said, speedrunning. So I think it can be kind of a combination of both almost. But I think when it comes to like the widespread of people coming back, it's certainly going to be the actual quality of the game itself.
I just wanted to ask, it just popped into my mind, do you think that any story-based game has potential of being still relevant after a certain amount of time? Because when, like, before we started, Josh was mentioning a couple of games. He said Smash Bros. Melee and obviously Mario. And, like, I feel like those games are good because they're super technical and you can still learn things about the game now. But if you're playing a story game, like, how much can that really hold up,
I mean, I guess it depends, like if it's a good story. Like, I mean, a game that I recently learned about was this game called Psychonauts, and the original came out a decent chunk of a time away now. And after learning more about the story, like, I think like even with like a relatively like as you said require like a game for people to go back to it typically will need to have like something you can like keep learning about mechanics that you can keep.
Yeah, I think it's that
improving.
replayability.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
and I think that like
what makes
if
a game
story's-
replayable?
Like, I guess having some like it's not the same every time. Like having something different about each.
Or how about this?
Each
like,
game.
not even take out old games. Like, what's your most played game, Josh?
Rocket League.
All right, why do you keep playing it?
It's fun.
Okay, better than
yeah, I mean it's like I don't know.
because
It's a good game. I don't got much else to say.
my most played game is probably Smash Bros. Should I say how many? Is it bad if I say how many hours I
It's
have?
definitely not as much as my.
Oh, okay.
Rocket
Well,
League,
it's like
so-
600 hours, right?
Yeah, that's not even close to
Oh,
Rocket
okay.
League
Nah,
hours.
I don't feel too bad now, but I guess like what makes that replayable for me. It's hard to think about, but probably just like it's not the same thing every time you play. You're playing as different characters against different characters in different game modes, and obviously like I still learn like new things like while I'm playing the game. So it's not really like you're at a stalemate and it gets boring because it's not really like you're repeating. Although the game is the same, you're not doing the same thing every time you play. You know.
Yeah.
I think I can say something very similar about Breath of the Wild, which I've been playing recently. Like, obviously, there's a finite amount of things you can eventually reach in the game, but for how expansive it is, like, personally, just having a new thing to explore every time is kind of what keeps me coming back. And I think I think it might be a little more different with old games, though. I think it just might be, like, how they hold up. Like, it's certainly, like a replayability, but I think like it's like almost the experience of going through the entire game after like maybe a significant amount of time, or like maybe even not an experienced amount of time. Like going through the combination of the story plus the mechanics for a lot of people just can click so well that it doesn't matter if they've seen these things multiple times. They still enjoy it just as much as they first found it. But yeah, I mean, I think yeah, it's a lot of different.
Dude, what about Minecraft? That's been around for a minute, right? When did
Yeah.
that come out?
Yeah, around like 2010.
Like,
it's
I feel like that's a
long
while
time.
for how popular like the game still is.
I mean, it's on its 20th version now, right? 1.20. I used to play on like 1.6. That was my version, man. That was the good right there.
I guess if we're talking about like maybe we're not talking about like what makes old games still relevant, but what makes newer games still relevant would be probably a lot of updates, right? Like new things, because we're talking about old games. We're saying you don't run out of things to do because you're always finding new things, learning new things.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't play Fortnite anymore, but like it's a good example because they're always updating the game like every week, right?
Yeah.
And they have like the feedback system, so they're always learning like what people like about the game, what needs improvement, and they're always adding new things, so it like keeps the game fresh.
Yeah.
I think another thing about old games is they didn't have like as much technology or whatever as they do now, so they had less to work with, so they find like interesting ways to kind of work with what they had to make a fun and interesting game. So I think part of that is just kind of plays a role in why those games are like still popular, is just because they had to find like weird ways to make people interested in their game and to like differentiate them themselves
weird
from.
ways.
Yeah. I think that's another thing too. They were a lot more creative and unique because there was more and more times now where you look at a first-person shooter
like,
box.
You probably have to be more creative nowadays. Like everything's taken, you know.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, people buy it anyways, so companies get lazy with like, bro. Tell me last time you've seen a first-person shooter box that wasn't just a guy sitting there in darkness holding like a gun. Like, come on, think about like Call of Duty games, like I feel like.
Alright, but Call of Duty is a little different. Like, come on,
I mean,
that's like their own thing.
I guess so, but I feel like still there are like other examples of games too where they do that.
Ethan, what's your most played game?
Okay, so two of my
It's a
most played
GTA.
games. I think it's between either Grand Theft Auto 5 Online or probably Rainbow Six Siege. Both multiplayer games, and for probably two very similar but sometimes different reasons. As someone who really likes routine, ironically, when it came to GTA Online, I think I really enjoyed the fact that I could really master what I was doing. And like the updates came at like the perfect kind of intervals where like when I would like eventually get bored, that's when around the time new stuff would come out, which was just
Forgot the update.
which was
come
just
up, yeah.
perfect. And also it's playing with friends. The 100% that is like one of the main reasons I play games, and it's always with friends.
Do you
It's
play
getting
any-
into police chases in GTA.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Playing
Love those.
playing like a 5-stack in Rainbow Six Siege, just in casual, like just screwing around, was easily some of my best gaming memories.
Do you play any games like alone?
I try to. I have a little trouble sticking to them. Like I played through part of Spider-Man PS4 when it came to PC. I played through a little bit of BioShock when that remaster came to PC. But I have a little trouble sticking to them. But some games that I really enjoyed was the Half-Life series. 1, 2, Episode 1 and 2, Half-Life Alyx, because I have VR. Those were pretty fantastic single-player games. Valve really knows what they're doing when it comes to that. And those are probably my most replayed games. Titanfall 2, that is a game I also played a lot of. That game's story I really enjoy, mostly because the gameplay is really good, but it's also a pretty solid story. But those are probably my most played single-player games.
I don't think Josh plays any story games.
What do you mean by that?
Can't blame you.
I haven't seen you play a story game.
Well, Hades would be, I guess.
Is that even a story?
Oh,
That's
you-
like a dungeon crawler. That's different.
Oh,
It still is kind of.
is it on any like not Switch anymore?
Yeah.
Oh
You
really?
can get it on anything.
Nice. Oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah, I have it on my Switch. I've been meaning to play it because it went on sale. But yeah,
Hades was a fun game. I was able to beat that after. It took a while, but
That sort of game doesn't interest me.
like sort of like those roguelikes where if you die you have to restart. I don't know if I can blame you, honestly. They certainly are off-putting. On the VR, there's a lot of those that I played.
How does the roguelike work in VR?
Well, I can talk about one of them briefly. One was called Sweet Surrender, where it was this sort of cel-shaded game, which is a very beautiful art style in my personal opinion. Essentially what it was you'd find different weapons, you had upgrade slots in your wrists to give yourself different abilities, and you'd go through different levels of difficulty, represented by floors of a tower that you climbed. And essentially you just go until you died. There were lots of little tricks chasing after you to try and get you to fail, environmental hazards. And honestly, I personally thought it's a really cool idea for VR. I mean, on like flat screen games, they work pretty well, but in VR, they work just as well in my opinion. But yeah, that's a really fun genre that also can keep you coming back 100%. Because there's just so much replayability in those kinds of games.
yeah.
Should we move on with your question, Josh, and then
Oh yeah.
wrap this one up?
Might as well.
Something else.
We'll go on to our special little segment.
All right.
The Great Debate.
I already
So-
know the segment.
so,
it's awful.
These two know exactly what that question is, and
I wish I
I
didn't.
do not.
He's
So-
had some time to prepare.
I
He was able to bask in it.
Let's just say
But,
I was not happy having to talk about this question. It was just painful.
All right. Well,
Get
you know
into it,
what?
Josh.
There's no time like
this
the
is a
present.
segment we like to call the Great Debate, and
It's awful.
it's wonderful. I don't know what you're talking about. So here's the big question. All right.
God.
Would you rather have unlimited bacon, but no games, or unlimited games, but no games?
Josh, your question does not make sense.
It makes total sense. I'm sorry if you are too low IQ to understand the question.
This is a bad question.
It is a great question.
How do you have unlimited games if you have no games?
Well, you have unlimited games, but at the same time you'd get, no games.
That doesn't make
Yes,
sense.
it does.
That doesn't make.
It does.
No.
I just need an answer here.
You know,
And a
if
reason
you had
for it.
unlimited bacon, you could cure world hunger.
That's what I said.
But you have the bacon. The world is
But
not.
you can't.
So
but
what?
like, what if I materialize the bacon, but I can't give the bacon away?
It's
Like, as soon as
physically
it,
not possible.
As soon as it
Yes,
lets
you
go out of my
can.
hands,
Stop
it
lying,
disappears.
Josh. I do what I want with my
You really
bacon.
can't. Unfortunately.
This guy's lying. How'd you grab that? Sorry.
Hey, you
Not related.
bastard.
Josh, I'm taking the bacon because
But then you get no games.
I wouldn't have.
I can live without games.
I wouldn't get games anyway, so
That's not true. You get unlimited games in option number 2.
I don't know why you're making your teacher listen to this question
That was too far. Damn it.
Well,
every single time.
this is only the second.
I feel bad
where
for
I've
him.
had to, but
Anyway,
I'm
that
gonna need some answers out of you guys though.
I gave you my answer.
But you need to justify it.
No,
Well, yeah. Otherwise, it's like, oh, I just picked one.
that's fine. I did.
Well,
Damn it.
it's not a good enough answer.
Oh well. It'll have to
Personally,
do.
I could live without games. I think going with some unlimited bacon, just a nice treat whenever you wanted it. I could go with that personally.
Yeah, that's
But-
some protein.
Because
then-
I mean, especially considering the other option makes literally 0%.
It does make
logical
sense. What are you gonna do without games? How are you gonna have fun?
Read a book.
It never says like I can't watch a game, right?
Well,
like if I
just
want to
you
watch,
don't have
He
any
got you there.
games.
That's fine.
But like, there's no
Josh
games.
didn't
There's no games
calculate
to
that
watch
anyone would
though.
want to give up the game.
Yeah, I know.
It's just there's no games to
All right,
watch.
that's fine. There's no
if you
games.
have bacon.
You
Oh,
got our
like
answer.
wait, but it's unlimited games, but no games ever exist.
You have unlimited games, just at the cost of no games. I don't really know where. What do you mean? That makes no sense.
This guy's gaslighting me.
Yeah. Like, are we talking about the PS5 has no games?
Well,
It's like
it wouldn't with bacon, but you'd have unlimited with the other
We're
one
done.
at the
End
cost of
this
having no
one.
games.
End this podcast. This is awful.
Why? I still need a
Yeah, you know what?
definitive answer with reason.
End it.
I'm giving up games, dude. I'm giving up.
Giving
games.
up game.
I'm giving up
Fair
games.
answer.
Any specific reason? You just really don't like games.
Just-
I really like.
You came
bacon.
on a podcast
Really
about
like bacon.
about games, and you're
Yeah.
saying,
But you know
I don't
what?
want the
It's
games.
like Thanos with
Oh my
Gamora.
gosh.
I'm sorry, little one. Like you gotta give it up.
You know what? That's probably the best answer I've had so far. I've only had 2 other answers.
Alright.
One of them, Jake just went insane, and then Josh made a Julius
got my
Caesar and a
answer.
Kanye quote.
You got
and
my
to
answer.
justify their answer, to justify his answer. So
I don't justify my answer.
I think yours was the worst.
Okay, that's fine.
Worst reasoning, mainly because you didn't have reasoning.
Okay.
You suck.
End the
Anyway.
podcast.
So that no.
What?
So that's it for this episode. Thanks
Thank you for
listening,
watching.
And
An outro. What is this?
someone's got to sing.
Wait, you want to play the outro
Oh,
music?
okay.
Yeah.
What should we sing?
You guys are singing.
Oh,
Yeah.
what should we sing?
Are we gonna sing the outro?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you want to sing?
Can you give us a beat and then we'll freestyle?
I don't want to freestyle.
No,
we're
it wouldn't be
gonna-
like a freestyle like that. It would be like we just sing to wrap it up. That's a long conclusion. Can you at least like something like that?
No.
Why?
It's all you. You can make
Alright,
your beat.
give me some beatbox.
Are you gonna get it?
It's gotta be louder than that. And more cool.
I'm trying, bro.
Way cooler.
Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna give you a beat. Okay.
Just add something to it, Josh. Thank you for listening to this podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed. That was from me, Ethan, Josh. That's the end.